So tonight's scary story is about a girl who's had a bunch of weird things happen to her, and then she had a sleep paralysis incident that is probably the most terrifying I have ever heard in my life. I do want to start off by saying that the scary thing about sleep paralysis is that doctors still to this day do not know why people hallucinate while they have sleep paralysis. They do know why people have sleep paralysis, but they don't understand why people have these hallucinations. You would figure that in today's day and age, doctors would at least know about it. And the scary thing about this is people are constantly seeing the same entities, people that I've never met before, seeing the exact same entities while they are sleeping. So how do you explain that? In the story that I'm about to tell you, the girl who is having the sleep paralysis actually wakes up and she is still hearing things that she was hearing in her sleep paralysis. So let's begin with the story. So the girl who sent me the story, her name is Brittany, and I'm going to tag her in the description so you can comment and she's going to see the comments, so feel free to ask any questions if you want. Brittany is a stay-at-home mom and she has 3 kids. She has 2 daughters and 1 son. Brittany has had scary things happen to her entire life. For instance, like she'll feel a presence that she feels. She actually feels it, but she can't see it, but she knows what it looks like in her head. Other times she'll be in a room and a door will open for absolutely no reason when nobody is there. Other times she'll see stuff that is swaying back and forth, but there will be no breeze whatsoever. During this time, she was constantly feeling like she was being watched, but she didn't know by who, just constantly feeling like she was being watched. So Brittany has had sleep paralysis her entire life, a couple times a year. Sometimes years will have more sleep paralysis than other years, but she does have sleep paralysis quite often. So when Brittany would first have sleep paralysis, she wouldn't see anything, she would only hear things, and sometimes she would just feel things. So it wasn't starting off by seeing anything. Around the time she was 12 or 13 years old, she actually started to see things at this point. Most of the time, it would be her sleeping in the room and she would be looking at something and it would morph into like a sleep paralysis entity, something scary. One time, this huge black mass with long, spindly fingers jumped on her bed. It would just get closer and closer to her with its fingers in her face. And you guys may think that that is scary. That is absolutely nothing compared to what she experienced when she was 27 years old. The sleep paralysis incident actually starts off in a dream. And it's important to note that her and her family had just gotten back from a camping trip and the kids had all slept in the tent with them, and they actually wanted to sleep in their room when they got home from the camping trip, and this is in real life. So they put a mattress on the floor, like an air mattress, and they let their 3 kids sleep on the floor on the air mattress in her room. So everybody is in her room and everybody is falling asleep, and at this point now she is asleep. She starts to dream about earlier in the night when they were all in her room setting up the air mattress, waiting for the kids to get into bed. They're all in the room and she's filling up this air mattress, and all the kids are really excited to sleep in the room with mom and dad, when all of a sudden she sees her son and he starts climbing on the walls really fast, just climbing on the walls, looking back at her, climbing on the walls, looking back at her. He's like, mommy, mommy, look at me, mommy, mommy, look what I'm doing. I did forget to mention actually that she is now in a state of sleep paralysis, so she is no longer dreaming at this point. She knows that she is awake, she knows that she cannot move, and this is what she is seeing. Now she's kind of freaked out because her kid is climbing on the wall, but then she looks over at a light fixture that's on her ceiling and she realizes that it is starting to morph into something black. Her son all of a sudden stops being a little creepy and he looks over at his mom and he's like, Mom, I want to get down now. Mommy, I want to get down now, because he sees the black mass. All of a sudden, her son's face goes from being cheerful and happy to absolutely terrified. He is no longer touching the wall, but he is now just floating closer to the ceiling where this black mass is. Mind you, the ceiling fan is on and he's going closer to the ceiling fan where this black mass is, and he is now at this point in tears, and she is starting to freak out because her body is tensed, it is cramping, she cannot move, she cannot scream, she cannot do anything, and she is seeing her child be attacked by this thing that is just coming closer and closer, then grabs her son, and her son is screaming at this point, Mommy, help me, Mommy, help me, it won't let go of me, it won't let go of me, Mommy, Mommy. Now she had actually had a sound machine on in her room because she can't sleep without a sound machine, and she can actually hear the sound machine going on, and she can see the light flicker in from the street lights come into her room, which is actually happening in real life, by the way, but she is seeing it in her sleep paralysis. All of a sudden, the black mass is starting to form tentacles like arms, and there's a lot of them, and they're just circling around her son like this. He is still screaming for help, and her inner voice is screaming, let go, give him back to me, give my son back to me. But she is unable to mutter a noise or the slightest movement. All of a sudden, she looks at this entity directly in its eyes. She feels her vocal cords start to loosen, and she feels a strength behind her voice that she can only attribute to being a mama bear. And all of a sudden, she screams, leave my family alone! And she says it in real life. Her body loosens up, she's out of the sleep paralysis, and all of a sudden this big thunder cracked outside of her window and it lit up the room. Just no rain, just a big sound of thunder that cracked for no reason. And this is after she's awake, mind you. Then she shoots up violently, gasping for air at this point because she wasn't able to move and felt like she couldn't be able to breathe that entire time. She looks around her room and everything is as is in her room as it was in her sleep paralysis dream, except for everybody is okay, everybody is sleeping, everybody is fine. There is thunder that is slowly crackling back in the distance, and she never has sleep paralysis ever again. And she actually attributes this to her standing up for herself and her family. You guys, sleep paralysis is a really creepy thing. Like, when I tell you that I have had sleep paralysis where there have been things in my room that I didn't even know were in like corners of my room, like clothes or something in my room, I'll have sleep paralysis and I will see that in my sleep paralysis, not knowing it was there before I had the sleep paralysis, and wake up and realize that the room was exactly how I saw it in my sleep paralysis, like I said before. And this freaks me out so much. In my opinion, sleep paralysis is 100% a bad entity messing with you in your sleep. That is what I think. That is what I truly believe. And for her to never have sleep paralysis ever again after standing up to this entity, well, what do you think about that? What do you think about sleep paralysis? Tell me. I'd love to know what you think about sleep paralysis, because it fascinates me. That is the end of the story. If you guys have any questions for her, any comments, or have ever experienced anything else similar, then drop it in the comments. Also, you can always email me your story. If you have any true scary stories, you can email me at kaisaspooky@gmail.com. It's in my bio. And if you stayed for the whole thing, I appreciate that more than you know. As always, you guys mean the world to me. Thank you so, so, so much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel where I'll be posting more scary stories. But other than that, I hope you guys have a spooky, spooky night. See you in the next one.